Sarabi was a key figure in The Lion King. As the queen, she held the Pride Lands together during Scar's reign, enduring hardship and loss while never losing her strength. Yet, when The Lion King 2, Simba's pride was released, she was completely missing, without any mention of her fate. This raises an intriguing question. Did Disney simply remove her for story reasons, or is there a much darker truth behind her disappearance? In this video, we'll explore the official reason for Sarabi's absence, the real-world explanation linked to her voice actress, and the darkest fan theories that suggest she may have met a tragic end. But first, let's start with what Disney has said about her removal. Unlike many mysteries in the Lion King universe, Sarabi's disappearance actually has an official explanation, but it might not be as satisfying as fans expected. According to The Lion King 2's writer, Flip Kobler, Sarabi was removed from the story because Nala took over her role as the queen. Since Nala was now Simba's mate, she naturally became the central female lioness in the story, making Sarabi's presence less necessary in the sequel's narrative. However, this explanation doesn't sit well with many fans. After all, characters like Rafiki and Zazu returned, despite having much smaller roles. Would it really have been so difficult to include Sarabi in at least one scene, even as a wise elder? The absence of any mention of her fate only deepens the mystery. But there's another reason that may explain why Disney didn't bring her back, one that goes beyond just storytelling choices. While the official explanation from the writers suggests that Sarabi was removed for narrative reasons, there is another key factor that may have influenced Disney's decision: the passing of her original voice actress. Sarabi was voiced by Madge Sinclair, an actress well known for her commanding and dignified performances. Unfortunately, she passed away in December 1995, just a few years after The Lion King was released. Disney could have chosen to recast her role, as they did with other characters in The Lion King 2, but they opted to omit Sarabi entirely. This has led many fans to speculate that her absence was not just a creative choice, but also a decision made out of respect for Sinclair's legacy. However, this explanation still leaves one major question unanswered. What actually happened to Sarabi in the story? With no in-universe explanation provided, theories have emerged that suggest a darker fate for the former queen. Since The Lion King 2 never acknowledges Sarabi's fate, some fans believe she may have died between the two films. This theory suggests that Sarabi's absence isn't just a narrative choice, but rather an indication of a tragic off-screen event. There are a few possible explanations. Natural causes. Given that Sarabi was already an elder in The Lion King, some believe she may have simply passed away due to old age. However, this theory seems unlikely, since Rafiki, who was much older, was still alive and active in The Lion King 2. Killed by the outsiders? Another theory suggests that Sarabi was a direct target of Zira's group. If Sarabi opposed Simba's aggressive stance against Scar's followers, she may have stood in the way of his decisions. Zira, who was fiercely devoted to Scar's legacy, might have seen her as a threat to their cause. Some fans speculate that Sarabi could have even died in an early battle between the outsiders and Simba's pride, explaining why her presence was completely erased from the sequel. Exiled by Simba? A more controversial theory argues that Simba may have forced Sarabi into exile due to a difference in ideals. While this seems out of character for Simba, there is evidence that his rule was stricter than Mufasa's. He banished Kovu's pride simply for being connected to Scar, so it's not impossible that he could have also exiled his own mother if they strongly disagreed on how to handle Scar's legacy. While these theories add a darker layer to the story, the truth remains a mystery. Sarabi simply vanished without explanation. Sarabi's absence in The Lion King 2 doesn't just create a narrative gap, it fundamentally changes Simba's character arc. In the first movie, Sarabi was a guiding presence, a symbol of resilience who helped maintain balance even under Scar's tyrannical rule. Without her, Simba is left without a parental figure to challenge or advise him, making his decisions more rigid and emotionally driven. Here's how her absence shaped The Lion King 2, a harsher Simba. Unlike Mufasa, who ruled with both strength and wisdom, Simba in The Lion King 2 appears more paranoid and authoritarian. He refuses to trust Kovu, even when given clear reasons to reconsider, and seems to rule from a place of fear rather than confidence. Had Sarabi been present, she could have tempered his decisions, reminding him of Mufasa's teachings and preventing him from making choices based purely on his trauma. Nala's role shifted. With Sarabi missing, Nala is left as the sole queen. In the first film, Nala and Simba balanced each other, with Nala being his equal rather than a parental guide. However, in The Lion King 2, Nala is placed in a more maternal role, similar to what Sarabi once filled. This suggests that the script originally included Sarabi, but with her removal, Nala had to take on both the role of queen and emotional support. A greater divide between Simba and the outsiders. If Sarabi had been alive, she might have influenced Simba's approach toward Zira and the exiled lions. She had already lived under Scar's rule and might have advocated for diplomacy over total rejection. Without her wisdom, Simba takes a more extreme stance, exiling the outsiders without considering any possibility of redemption. Sarabi's absence doesn't just remove a key character, it shifts the entire power dynamic of the Pride Lands, turning Simba into a more conflicted and flawed ruler. While The Lion King 2 never explicitly addresses Sarabi's absence, there are official explanations behind the decision to remove her from the story. The writer's choice. According to The Lion King, Sue screenwriter Flip Kobler, Sarabi was written out simply because her presence was unnecessary to the plot. Since Nala was taking on a more active role, the writers felt that keeping Sarabi would be redundant. The loss of her voice actress. Another major reason could be that Madge Sinclair, the original voice of Sarabi, passed away in 1995, a few years before the sequel's release. Instead of recasting her, Disney may have decided to silently remove Sarabi from the narrative as a form of respect. However, while these reasons make sense behind the scenes, they don't explain her absence within the story itself. If she was still alive, why is she never even mentioned? Did she die between movies? Or was she removed from the Pride Lands for another reason? These gaps in the story have led fans to speculate on darker explanations for her disappearance. Since The Lion King 2 never explains Sarabi's fate, fans have developed several theories about what may have happened to her. Some believe she simply passed away due to old age, while others suggest a far more tragic end. Theory 1. Sarabi died before the events of The Lion King 2. One of the most straightforward explanations is that Sarabi simply passed away between the first and second movies. Given that The Lion King 2 takes place years after Simba's return, it's possible she died peacefully due to old age or illness. This would explain why Simba is never shown consulting her for advice, unlike how he turned to Mufasa's spirit for guidance. Theory 2. The Outlanders killed Sarabi. Some fans speculate that Sarabi may have been targeted by Zira and the Outlanders. As one of the strongest lionesses from the original Pride, Sarabi would have been a natural enemy to Zira's plans. If the Outlanders had attacked the Pride Lands before the events of The Lion King 2, Sarabi could have died defending her home. Theory 3. Simba exiled Sarabi for disagreeing with him. One of the most shocking theories suggests that Simba exiled Sarabi after taking the throne. In The Lion King 2, Simba is extremely paranoid and distrustful of the Outlanders, showing a harsher ruling style than Mufasa ever did. Some fans believe that Sarabi may have disagreed with his leadership and, rather than listen, Simba may have exiled his own mother. This would explain why she's never seen in the Pride Lands again. What's the truth? None of these theories have been confirmed by Disney, but Sarabi's unexplained absence leaves a major mystery in the Lion King story. What do you think? Did Sarabi simply pass away, or was she removed for a more sinister reason? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Regardless of the true reason for her disappearance, Sarabi's absence significantly affects the Lion King's story and Simba's character arc. Without her, the Pride Lands lose a powerful matriarch, and Simba is left without one of his most trusted advisors. Simba's harsh leadership. In The Lion King 2, Simba is overly protective of Kiara and harsh towards Kovu, refusing to trust him despite multiple chances. This contrasts sharply with Mufasa's balanced leadership, and many fans believe Sarabi's presence could have helped Simba become a wiser ruler. Without her, he seems to rule with more fear and caution, likely as a response to his own traumatic past. The missing voice of wisdom. In The Lion King, Sarabi is calm, intelligent, and unshaken, even when Scar mistreats her. If she had been in The Lion King too, she could have been a counterbalance to Simba's paranoia, encouraging him to see beyond the past and embrace peace. Instead, Nala plays a similar role, but her presence is not as strong as Sarabi's would have been, the lioness that could have changed everything. If Sarabi had survived, she could have influenced Simba to make better decisions and avoid unnecessary conflicts with the Outlanders. Could she have prevented the war entirely? Would Kovu and Kiara's relationship have been easier to accept if Sarabi had been there to mediate? Sarabi's absence in The Lion King 2 may have been a behind-the-scenes decision, but in the world of the movie, it leaves a major hole in the Pride Lands' leadership. So the real question remains, would The Lion King 2 have been a completely different movie if Sarabi had still been around? While The Lion King 2 never explains what happened to Sarabi, fans have developed several theories to fill in the gaps. Some suggest a peaceful ending, while others believe she met a more tragic fate. Theory number 1. Sarabi passed away. Naturally. The most common theory is that Sarabi died of old age between the events of The Lion King and The Lion King 2. She was already an older lioness in the first movie, and it's possible that after Simba reclaimed the throne, she lived peacefully for a few more years before passing. If this is the case, it explains why she isn't present without needing a dramatic reason. Theory number 2, she was exiled or left on her own. Some fans suggest that Sarabi disagreed with Simba's rule and chose to leave the Pride Land. In The Lion King, she was strong-willed and independent, refusing to submit to Scar even under extreme conditions. If she and Simba had a serious disagreement, perhaps over how he handled the Outlanders, she may have chosen to leave or was forced into exile. Theory number 3. Sarabi was killed in the conflict. The darkest theory is that Sarabi was killed by Zira and the Outlanders before the events of The Lion King 2. Zira had no respect for the old Pride Lands leadership, and it's possible she saw Sarabi as an obstacle. If Zira and her pride attacked the kingdom after Scar's defeat, Sarabi may have died protecting her pride. This theory would make her absence more than just an oversight. It would add a tragic weight to Simba's actions in the sequel. What's the truth? Since The Lion King 2 never acknowledges Sarabi, we may never truly know what happened. However, her disappearance changes the course of the movie. Whether she died peacefully, left the Pride Lands, or was tragically taken, her absence left a lasting impact on Simba's rule. What do you think happened to Sarabi? Did she live out her days peacefully, or was there a darker truth behind her disappearance?